let's double check that. So the sound you hear in the background is my little compressor on the floor turning off and on. I don't think that's vertical. Hello friends, I'll be with you in just a minute. Does that look vertical? I think so. Okay, no, is it in the right place? So I've got this very tricky trick that I'm trying to pull off here, which is I want an image of a cross up here in the starry sky. Oh my goodness, it's not even close to the right place. But I want it to be very subtle. It's so subtle that I can't see it. It's so subtle that I can't see it myself half the time. So right at the top of that. Again, bear with me. I'll be with you guys and get official in just a minute. Whew. All right. Hello, Susan. Hello, Uncle 60. Hello, Lady Grammy. Susan, was that you last night? I'm laughing already. I think it was. Hey, before I get into that, let's get official legal. Daily Art Adventure number 811, finishing what I'm calling a loose fantasy painting, or loose, I prefer storytelling painting, with airbrush and other such things. Anyway, so last night, yeah, Darth Vader should be in the house. I should be wearing a mask, but if I start spraying a lot, I will. I was talking about angels in disguise, angels hidden, which is kind of what I'm playing with here. Like you can barely see these angels, and this guy's halfway transparent, and so on. And then late in the process, I discovered that these sheep were way too small compared to the size of the shepherds. They should come up to about the shepherd's waist. And I went, oh no. So I concluded that they're all lambs. But Susan said these aren't shepherds, they're angels in disguise. They're actually 9 feet tall. So that makes it, Susan, I laughed, I cackled like a chicken for 5 minutes. Twice, yesterday and again this morning. So funny. So thank you for giving me good workout, jogging my innards for several minutes. And if that wasn't you, I'm sorry. I'll have to go back. I should have gone back and looked. All right. So since we last spoke, some of you anyway, with me, I did take this out in the front yard and spattered it right under that one. I did, in fact, what I thought I might do, I spattered it once with this masking tape cross template on it. And when I say spattered it once, I don't mean that I got it right the first time. Not at all. I think it took me about 4 tries to get. We've talked about that quite a bit, about how to spatter a painting. And the key secret is make sure that whether in oil or acrylic, make sure the painting is dry, because you're very unlikely to get your spatter perfect first try. Does that make sense? So you try it several times to get it right. Ooh. I thought I had it all straightened out, but I need to raise that about an 1/8 of an inch over here. So I want this cross to be subtle. In fact, quite subtle. It was so subtle a little while ago that even I couldn't see it. So that was a little too subtle, if you follow me. So I'm trying to make it just a little more obvious than that. But I might be going back and forth several times before I get it just the way I want it. It's pretty easy to hide. All I have to do is paint more stars in it. So this morning I spattered it. I did some orange here. There's a bunch of orange down here actually. And then I brought it up to my studio and I did a gloss acrylic glaze over the whole thing because I didn't want any difference in glossiness to hide the subtleties. So it's all equally glossy. It's all glossy all over. At the moment, a little bit of background that I'm using an Iwata Micron airbrush, which 15 or 20 years ago when I bought it was the best airbrush on the market. I don't know if that is, so they're always inventing something new. Although you may know that the whole art of airbrushing is almost a dying art. It's a lot more obscure than it used to be. It got a real boost, I think, in the 70s with, I don't know, automotive and kooky hippie type people doing psychedelic stuff. All right, and the ink that I'm using, sorry, it's actually not ink. They call it ink. It's actually acrylic paint, watered down. And I'm using 2, 3, 4, counting drops. You do a lot of counting drops in airbrush, in my opinion. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4 drops of turquoise and 4 drops of dioxazine violet, because that gives me, so to get it purple and green together often give a very nice dark blue. And so in this case it's purple and turquoise, but I'm liking the color, so that's what I'm using at the moment. Using an airbrush is taking me back to a former life for me, my life as an illustrator. And wouldn't you know it, it's kind of ironic and interesting that here I am doing what I call a storytelling painting or fantasy painting, and lo and behold, I'm using an airbrush, just like one might do with a fantasy painting. All right, now, my medium is very glossy, and I'm gonna revarnish the whole thing, varnish quote unquote with gloss when I'm done. Hello, Mark. Good to have you on board. Hello, Light Blue. And Light Blue is asking me to use a mask. You know what? I should do that. Okay. Okay. Next, one of you guys actually recommended this several weeks ago when I was doing my other starscape cosmic painting, cosmic Christmas painting. One of you suggested using the tip of a brush, and I have found it works quite well. So this is after all the spattering. This is my surgically placed stars. And I am, in fact, as you can tell, I am doing stars, little tiny dots, right up to the edge of the cross. You know, again, just playing around with how visible do I and how invisible do I want it to be. And of course, doing some bright stars inside that the cross shape. So when you dip your brush handle in paint, the first marks that you make are large, and then they get progressively smaller as you continue to tap. So it's a pretty good technique. Whoever suggested that to me, better than trying to use a brush, even a small brush like this. Once again, I'm actually using Horatio Uncle 60. I'm using one of the new brushes you sent me a couple of days. It's part of it is it's what's handy. I could go rummaging through my watercolor stuff looking for a watercolor brush, but I brought all your gift, your package upstairs to my office, and it's sitting right there. So I said, what the heck? Let's use this. It's right here. Anyway, thank you very much again. I had wondered, the reason I have the mask over here, that tape left over, I had wondered if I might stick this up here again, reapply it, and then do a tiny bit of spattering, like you know, with my thumb or with my fingers like this. I had wondered if I would do that, but you know, I don't think I need to. Of course, spattering is always kind of dangerous because you never know exactly what's going to happen. But I think I'm getting the effect I want. All right, I'll be going back and forth between brushes and airbrush and so forth. Let's switch to another tool at the moment. And light blue, thank you for the exhortation. In fact, I will do that. Are you the same one who said that a month ago? Was that you, light blue, who said wear a mask? Anyway, I'll do that. I'll be a good example, you know. I am aware that people see me not using a mask when I'm airbrushing. That'll embolden them to not wear a mask. So I'll take my power of example seriously. And I'll go wherever. So I think you know what I'm doing here. This is just a plain piece of Bristol board, single ply Bristol board, thick paper, if you will. I'm using it to repaint that cross shape, the crosshair shape in the middle of that star. I also had to measure this circle. I can't put this down yet, that's wet. When I did this on Christmas Eve at a church, when I did the painting, this was a last minute thought. So right minutes before the service was about to start, I ran to the church's kitchen downstairs and they unlocked the door for me, and I said, I need a paper plate. So sure enough, I found a paper plate. So that was at the last moment this idea. If I had been smart, I would have grabbed an extra paper plate and brought it home. But I wasn't that smart, so I had to break out the old compass and X-Acto knife and cut out again a piece of Bristol board. All right, I think I can start spraying some stars. Let's be a good boy. And I think I did this a couple weeks ago and found that for the most part you could still hear me Here's trying to get the respirator on. I'm muffled, but you can hear me, right? Better muffled than dead. All right. And again, for what it's worth, if anybody's trying to learn from me, the little dust mask, I probably have one of those over here somewhere. Anyway, it is not approved for generally speaking, for airbrush use. Well, I don't see any, but you know the kind I'm talking about. Like you buy at Home Depot or Lowe's. And you can get these at Home Depot or Lowe's too. But those little dust masks are generally considered not good enough. I did notice when I was getting my airbrush colors out here, once again, the brand that I'm using is Hans Holbein. I don't mean that. I mean Holbein. Hans Holbein is the artist. Holbein acrylic ink. It's not actually ink at all. It's just liquid acrylic. And I picked up an assortment of colors for my airbrush table over there. In fact, I probably never explained that before. That drawing table over there, years ago, it was a dedicated airbrush drawing. That's all that, so to speak, that's what it was built for. That's what it was stocked for. So it sits over there buried under tons of stuff. And it's a little bit lonely, as you can see. All right, shaking. Ooh. So we'll find out soon enough. Well, that looks a little thick to me. I don't think that's been sitting too long. I don't think that's going to come out. Yeah, that's a little too thick. So here we go. Welcome to the. Add a little water and take a tiny brush and stir it up, reaching all the way down there into the bottom of that bowl. Again, I'm just using my little, here, I'll point you at it for a second. And you see it? There, that compressor on the floor. That's what you're hearing going on and off. I have a quote-unquote real compressor. There we go, down in the garage. Great big, I don't know, 130 gallon, big compressor with a big motor. And I've run the hose up through the ceiling of the garage, up through the attic and through the wall here in my studio. So again, when I moved into this house 13 years ago, I was still doing a fair amount of airbrush illustration, so it was worth doing all that work. All right, so now I'm going to fuzz some of these stars. This, again, if you need to do any cosmic outer space paintings, the introduction of the soft focus airbrush goes a long way to giving the impression of a romantic or fantasy or beautiful cosmic starry sky. I think I might have been doing too many for a second. Let's back off from that.
I have another accidental comet or meteorite over here. I'll do more. Whoops, time to get this out of the way now. It doesn't look like I will be using that again, so let me set it aside. Keep it nice just in case. Uncle, how do you clean it? That's a good question. How do you clean it so quickly? The bowl. Spray water in it and then wipe it out with a tissue. And then they'll still be, and then you spray it. Normally when I'm airbrushing, I have an overspray catcher box. Anything will do. A can with holes in it and filled with tissues or something like that will accomplish the job of capturing overspray. I'm not using that today. What would it look like if I turn this off? What would it look like if I turn this off? Let me see what... Oh yeah, that's a little better for you guys. Not good for me, but... Okay, my cross at the moment, in my opinion, is a tiny bit too obvious. Huh! No kidding, light blue. You have a compressor but never used it yet. Well, it's an adventure waiting for you. Airbrushes are a very finicky, irritating tool, so brace yourself. I think I've often thought you really have to have a certain kind of personality to successfully use an airbrush. If you're not kind of a OC, finicky, fussy person, you can't be a free spirit, crazy, throw paint around kind of personality and do airbrush, because you'll just be chunking it out the window in a matter of minutes. So far here today, everything's working well, and I'm not frustrated at all. But this is the exception rather than the rule. And it's also a little bit of experience behind the wheel, so to speak. And what I'm doing here, shooting these stars, it's a little bit harder than it looks. Forgive me, I'm making it look like it's really easy. But one of the primary skills that you develop as an airbrush artist is aiming, target practice, hitting your target. Not as easy as I'm making it look. Sorry about that. All right, I think I'm ready to redo this aura here. Okay, now with this much airbrushing, what I'm doing right now, I wasn't envisioning doing this much. All of a sudden, I'm going, oh, you know what? I'm glad I'm wearing a mask. So thanks, light blue. But I'm done for a while. Let's put that down. Let's turn off my compressor. I'll take off my mask in a few minutes. Let's do some more brush handle. Oh, by the way, here's a tip. I don't know if any of you are really at all interested in airbrushing, but sometimes if you're doing this kind of thing, it's a lot easier to spray first and then add the bullseye. You know that old trick? Shoot the arrow and then draw a target around where your arrow landed. So that's what I'm doing now. And that's a perfectly legal airbrush trick. I want to do a little bit of orange to darken some of this stuff down here. By the way, um, hello, Anderson Salino. I think you're a new chatter. Thank you for speaking up. Good to have you on board with us. That's right. I'm not going to go political. At least not today, and usually not ever. I think I'm going to mix up some pale blue, opaque pale blue acrylic, so that I can do some blue stars. Yeah. I've mentioned a couple times, again, one of the tricks, if you want to do again, sort of a Hubble telescope-like cosmic, impressive skyscape, starry night, make your stars a different color. And indeed, there are a number of orange stars in here. And at the moment, I'm doing light blue stars. So that gives a real sense of dimension, and it adds to the magic of the image. I'm going to go back to the airbrush sooner than I thought. So here's sorry, I left you out in the dark for a second there, didn't I? So I'm just spraying water into this cup. There's a stack of paper towels and tissues in the bottom. This is not necessarily the approved method for cleaning a cup, but it's the quick version. Okay, and then wipe it out. A little bit more water, a little bit more spraying, and that should do the job. Should be clean enough. Now, what I'm doing here today is very, very rough airbrushing, very coarse, not very precise. So, I don't know if that matters to you or not. All right, this time I'm going to do 5 drops of purple. No, I meant to go the other way around. And okay, so I'm going to do 6 drops of turquoise. Change my mind, it was 7. But I do keep score, because I want to know what the formula is for every color that I use. I'm going to do a few dark bits out here, outside the cross shape. Again, just adding a little bit of dimension. And the cross is showing up a little more than I want, partly because of a difference in reflectivity. So probably the very last thing that I'm going to do to this painting is glaze the whole thing again with transparent gloss, so that there's no part of the painting that's a little bit that is varied in glossiness, right? I think that will even out this a little bit. Airbrushing like this is just so much fun. It's really easy to get carried away. Like, ooh, this is fun. Let's do more. Ooh, this is fun. Let's do more. Then you run into that, one of the rules of painting. If something is a lot of fun to do, be careful not to do too much of it. Spattering falls into that category a lot. Spattering is a lot of fun, therefore be careful not to fall into the trap of doing too much of it. I'm going to leave that for a moment. So here we go again, cleaning the airbrush. Yeah. What is everyone's age range here? That is funny. Dan, you should abstract fuzz that circle edges. This one up here, you think it ought to be not as, you're probably right. At the moment, that would take a lot of work. I'm not sure I want to do that. Lazy. Just color me lazy. All right, I'm going to put pure orange. Whoa, there's not much in there. Let's see if there's any in there at all. Yep, okay. I'm 65, by the way. Lady Graham, YouTubers want one place to ignore it. Oh. Oh, the circle would start in the middle. Yeah, maybe fuzz it in bluish stuff. It is a hard edge, I agree. Maybe that was not a good decision, but that's where it is right now. Alright, so I have orange, let's test it. Make sure, yep. Just want to deepen the, especially around the major scene here. It just felt a little bit washed out to me. Yeah, that's nice. Same thing with the sunset. Warm up these shepherds. Am I done? No, I think it would be fun to do a little bit of opaque violet or purple. So light purple, in other words. So that shouldn't be too hard. Two drops of dioxazine violet and 1, 2, 3 drops of white. Add a little bit of water because that white's too thick. And then mix it up, stir it up with a brush. Can you see what I'm doing? I think you can. And always test it to make sure it's coming out the color you want. There we go. All right. Thinking some of these purple angels would look good with a little glow around them. You know what? That's too light, so I'm going to add 3 more drops of purple. Oh, I should show a close-up when I clean out the airbrush. Okay, I'll try to remember to do that next time. Test that now. All right, there we go. A little deeper purple. I think that'll be prettier. If it looks to you like airbrushing is fun, then that's good. It is. It really is. It's frustrating a lot of times when it's not working, which is often. But it really is a fun medium. Very special skill. Typically, if you see like the guys at the fair, the girls at the fair, they do t-shirts and license plates, you know, in case you're wondering. Yes, those people are highly skilled. It's not like a cheap trick that they learned last week. So yeah, go ahead and be impressed. The guys and the girls that do like I said, t-shirts and license plates and stuff like that at the mall or at the fair or whatever. Yeah, most of them, everyone that I've ever seen. I'm a pretty good airbrush artist, and they have my respect. And that's how Drew Blair got so good. I've mentioned him before. Probably the best airbrush artist in the world. He spent 8 years at Myrtle Beach doing that kind of thing. And he claims that's how he learned airbrush, was doing it all day, every day for 8 years. That would do it, I think. Anything you do all day, every day for 8 years, oh God, you're going to get pretty good at it. Put some purple on the tail down here. I will post a finished copy of this painting, as I do most of my paintings. I try to do all of them. I will post a copy of it on my YouTube community page. A few couple of those up here, just for fun, just for variety. Not too many. I hope my compressor noise is not just driving me crazy. I did not use my big fancy compressor down in the garage. Alright, I'm going to say, I think I'm done with the airbrush, so I will airbrush a little bit more clean this. And I'm very close to being finished with the whole painting. Of course, I'll take a look at it after I hang up with you guys. I'm going to do a glossy glaze over the whole thing. So here's the cleaning the airbrush part. And I'm not going to give it a thorough clean, partly because alas, I have run out of denatured alcohol, which is the secret for cleaning anything acrylic. If you're an acrylic painter, you should go to a hardware store and have a gallon or a quart at least of denatured alcohol to pick up the spills that happen. Hang on, sorry. To pick up clean up the spills that happen when you're airbrushing. Okay, I'm going to very carefully take this off. That will expose the needle, which is extremely fine and costs about, I don't know, $30, $40, $50, $60, I don't remember. At least 30. So even doing it with my fingernail is a little bit risky. Normally, then, at this point, see, I even want to clean up the outside of my airbrush, because a dirty tool is just one step away from a damaged tool. So if you keep it clean, it's much less likely to get damaged. There. I sound like your mom, don't I? Or your dad, or somebody. The last thing I would normally do would be put denatured alcohol in it and spray this and put my finger over it so that it backs up. Here, I'll show you. I'll put water in it. So I'm making water go backwards through the siphoning tube there. That make sense? All right, that's clean enough for today. And it's always nice to get that irritating noise done with. And I think there's enough. I've got a fan on over my head, by the way, which is helping to blow the
dust, the airbrush overspray out of here. Hang on, I'll pick you up, guys, up for just a second, and just before I go, I'll let you see this. How does that work? Now you're getting bad glare from the window, but anyway, there's one of my this year's Christmas paintings. By the way, I'm kind of happy with the shepherds. Look, these three guys are pretty concrete, specific, and the sheep. But look at as they go back, and just like the angels, you can't even. Is that a person? So they get more abstract. I kind of like that. I think I managed to pull that off fairly well in this case, the abstraction. I think my circle is going to stay the way it is. I know it's a little bit Star Trek-y, cosmic-y, but that's kind of what this illustration is. Any other chats I absolutely need to read? Maybe. Aha, light blue, that's right. Find somewhere to share. So find somewhere. Uncle, everything on this canvas is acrylic. Everything's acrylic, so I can pile up more and more and more layers without danger of anything peeling off. So again, the last thing I will do here on this one is golden gloss medium, general purpose acrylic fluid. That will make it glossy. And after I do that, I'll decide if I want to try to disguise the cross shape anymore. For instance, I'm going to do a little bit right now. Like one of the things I can do to make it a little less obvious is just do a few more stars inside the shape, right? Yeah, as I said yesterday, I'd like about 20% of the audience, quote unquote, to not see the cross at all till somebody points it out, till one of their kids points it out to them. That would be ideal. Because then people go, oh, they'll have that thrill of discovery, right? Oh, that's cool. That's sort of what I'm aiming for there. All right, I am going to sign it, then glaze it, and probably be done. Thank you for your time and your company and your attention. I enjoy your feedback very much. Especially Susan, I think it was, who said these are actually angels in disguise. They're 9 feet tall. That's why the sheep appear small. Uncle, can you spray thin down oil paint? Yes, indeed, you can. Yes, yes, yes. That's what I did on the last cosmic painting I did. That I finished in oil. So yes, I thinned it down with medium and Gamsol, and just so it would be the right viscosity, the right thickness to come out of the airbrush, and working just fine. Just playing around with a little pencil, making some of these invisible angels a little more visible. All right, y'all. I keep saying I'm done and I keep going, but now I really am done. Thanks. I'm starting a new painting this afternoon. I might broadcast again, might not. If I do, if you've touched that bell, you'll be notified. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate your company. Love y'all. Hope you have a great day. Bye.